All right, welcome to Talkin' Investing. I am Tom, and as always, this is not financial advice. Today, I want to do our daily Bitcoin and Bitcoin miner update. We had some unusual activity today, so I want to go through that. I want to look at the Bitcoin chart. Also, we'll obviously have a look at the big board. There were a few Bitcoin miners that had strange days today, so we'll talk about that as well. And we talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners on this channel all the time, so if that's content that you're interested in, please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Also, if everybody could smash the like button, I would really appreciate it. It helps the video out a lot. It really does get this video out to a lot more people. Okay, so let's talk about Bitcoin. I'm going to start on the Bitcoin miner big board and go through and talk about some of the miners. And then I want to talk about what happened in the market today, and then we'll talk about what happened with Bitcoin. Okay, so if we look at the Bitcoin miners, you're going to see it's, again, a mixed bag. Yesterday was a mixed bag. Today is a little bit more green than red, but there were some big outliers today. So I want to start out just mentioning those. IRES Energy, stock ticker IREN, that was down 14% today. There was no unusual volume. There was no news that I could find at all, and I dug around. So if any of you guys have news on this, feel free to drop it in the comments below and let us know, because I didn't see anything. So on a day where it was actually skewed a little bit to the upside, IRES Energy got crushed today. DigiHost also had a very down day, and I'm going to take a look at the DigiHost chart because that is trending in the wrong direction. So they were down 7%, so that was a tough day. On the flip side, Argo Blockchain was up 9% on the day. It was actually up more like 13 or 14% most of the day. It ended up 9%, but that is a big up day. So, you know, on the same day to have something that's up 9% and another thing down 14%, you can see these Bitcoin miners are no longer acting in unison. So picking the right miner and having patience and understanding what happened each day is important, because sometimes on a day like today, I will tell you, I'm starting to get interested in IRES Energy. Down 14% today. They are going to report earnings shortly, and if the market has a negative reaction to that and they take one more step to the downside, I'm going to get very interested in that stock. So again, this is not financial advice. You guys have to decide which Bitcoin miners you want to buy, if any. So let's take a quick look at the market. Okay, so the day started green. You know, it looked like it was going to be a good day, but that quickly started to erode. So we ended the day across the board. The S&P was down 0.78. The Dow was down 0.88. The NASDAQ was down 0.56. The Russell was down 0.62. You can see crude oil was at $88.96. That was down almost 3%, and that is now in the 88s. That is way down. This is now a full month that it's been under 100. But if I keep going, you'll see gold was down, silver was down. I mean, this was a day where everything was down. So in light of that big picture on such a down negative day, the Bitcoin miners actually fared very well, as did Bitcoin. So with that said, let's take a look at the Bitcoin chart. Okay, so here we are on the Bitcoin 15-minute time frame. So as always, there's an orange line from yesterday when the market closed. So when the equity markets closed yesterday, Bitcoin was at 19,947 approximately. So you can see since then, we did immediately dip down a little bit under that, and we also dipped down a little bit under this line of support. However, we quickly recovered, and since last night, we have been above this pink line of support. And again, that was the high from 2017. So that was the Bitcoin high from the previous bull cycle. It's been fluctuating above and below 20,000. So I thought that was going to be more of a psychological line of support, but it really just keeps crossing over it and over it and over it. So it just doesn't feel like a line of support at all anymore. It's really, this is more turning into a more accurate line of support. And again, this was the previous high from the previous bull market back in 2017. So we jumped above that. We stayed above that all day. Of course, this candle was the market open in the US. So you can see from market open for the next few hours, we just went down in a straight line. We candle wicked down and basically tested this line of support. Several hours later, we tested this line of support again. This held both of these times. Again, we did, for a little bit overnight, we did go below this line. And as we get to the larger time frames, we'll take a closer look at that. So you can see from where we closed yesterday until where we closed today when the equity markets closed in the US, Bitcoin was actually up 1.34%. So in a day where most of the stuff lost its momentum and was down on the day. Bitcoin was up on the day. And obviously the Bitcoin miners for the most part were green. There were several red exceptions. It was really a mixed bag. So let's go to the 4-hour time frame because I want to try and figure out what is happening next, because this has been some very sideways activity and it's been fairly ambiguous. So this is basically Bitcoin for the last 10 days on the 4-hour time frame. So each one of these candles represents 4 hours. So you'll see this is where it's a little more clear. This line is the line from the previous bull cycle high that we were just talking about. Just under $20,000 at around $19,890. So that goes back to 2017. So if you see, once we broke to the downside back on August 25th, we pretty much broke through the first line of support. Each time we've had a candle close below the line, the very next one gets back above the line, back above support. So really, in a lot of ways, you can say we really still haven't broken this line of support. If I zoom in and we take a look at the last 2 4-hour candles that have closed in a row, you're going to see each one of them candle wicked right down to this line of support. So while they closed well above that, each time we tested this line again in this 4-hour candle and now in the last 4-hour candle that just closed, and now we're in a new 4-hour candle that's just beginning. On the RSI, this was the low in June. That was down around 13. And then you can see we had 1, 2, 3, 4 cycles where we just had a nice uptrend for 2 months. That was our relief rally. That was from 17,500 to about 25,000. That then ended. So you can see we got all the way back to oversold on August 20th. And what has happened now, this is the second time. Back on August 24th, we did get just above 50, which is neutral on the RSI, but we topped out there and basically got rejected and went back into oversold territory. Well, the same thing happened again here today, and it looks like we may be getting rejected again today. So that is one of the most important things I'm going to see for where we're going in the next week. Are we getting rejected here and heading back down? That is what appears to be the new pattern that's forming. However, if we can break through this 50 and start to head up, then we can start to talk about some price targets on the upside. But for now, I'm going to focus on the same price targets I've been talking about since the relief rally ended about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. So let's go to the 1-day time frame and we'll take a look at that. Okay, so this is Bitcoin on the 1-day time frame. And again, this yellow arrow, this was 2 months basically. This was about 8 weeks of upward momentum. So we were calling this a relief rally the whole time. We were bullish on this channel. We were bullish for most of this entire time. However, I was specific to say that I did think this was a relief rally. I drew this blue line at the beginning. I thought this was the price target for the relief rally. We got very, very close to that line, I think within like $100. And unfortunately, the relief rally ran out of steam at that point. That was now 2 weeks ago, and you can see, we now have an arrow going in the other direction at this point. The momentum is down at the moment. For a full week, we actually had a nice little bounce. And when that was over, we had another giant red candle, and basically the next day, we were testing this line of support. So this is hit or miss. We have a daily candle closing below it, then we have one closing above it, then we have one closing below it, and then one closing above it. So we're really, I'm not sure which side of this line we're on. When the momentum turned up here, I drew all these lines, and I thought the most likely case scenario is that we were going to end up at this green line right here, which is just under about 19,200. We're at 20,185 right now. So we're still almost 1,000 points away from that as we speak. We did get as low as about 19,500. So we got within about $300 of that, but we never touched that line and never tested that line. So I think we're experiencing something like this right now where we've got some sideways activity. I do think the downward momentum has not changed yet. So for me, I'm not ready to say that we've bottomed out yet. And let's take a look at the 1-day RSI because I think this also reiterates that. So on the daily RSI, you'll see we peaked here on the 13th. The 15th was the end of the relief rally. We then pretty much went down in a straight line. We did not get quite to oversold on the first time. We bounced for this week that I was talking about. That's this circle right here. So we had a nice 1-week rally, but even that rally only ever got us up to 40 on the daily RSI. We then did dip down into oversold territory, just barely. We got to 29.29. So technically that's oversold. Anything under 30. And now we've bounced up again, but it does look like we're setting potentially a lower high here on the 1-day time frame. So we don't know yet because this hasn't turned around and started going down yet. But if it does, then we will have set a lower high. We definitely set a lower low. So that would tell me that the downward momentum isn't quite done yet. I do think we're getting close to the end. I don't expect this to be a gigantic push to the downside. I'm going to reiterate that my price target is this green line at 19,200, and I did put one more line. We did get down to around 17,500 at the bottom back in June, and again, that was even on the 1-day candle, that was more of a flash crash. I think it's possible we could candle wick down to that, but really, this green line is the line that I'm looking at, but it is taking its time to get there. So, I thought this would be a 2 to 4 week down cycle. Well, we're already, I think, past 2 weeks into this. So, there could be another couple of weeks of this, in my opinion. And again, obviously, if any of these trends change, then we could see a reversal. But right now, I'm just not seeing a reversal in anything. So I am expecting some sideways activity, and then I'm expecting to test this green line. And again, that green line is just under 19,200. So somewhere in the 19,000 area. I believe that's where this is going to end, and we may see a reversal at that point. But we'll have to wait and see. So just to look at a couple of the charts real quick, here's Iris Energy, stock ticker IREN. Iris Energy had a really nice run from the bottom in late June to August 11th. This was up 137%. That was not unusual. I think there was 8 or 9 Bitcoin miners that were up over 100% in that period. So Iris was right along with them. However, you can see today was a massive pullback. So now at this point, from that high, Iris has now pulled back over 40%. So again, for me, I'm going to be looking to see if we can retest these lows. If we get anywhere near these lows again, for me personally, I'm going to get very interested in this stock. Again, this is not financial advice. I can't tell you guys to buy Iris or sell Iris. So please do your own due diligence and take a look at this. But I know of no reason why this took a dramatic turn to the downside today. Again, if anybody knows anything, feel free to drop it in the comments and let the rest of us know. Okay, so lastly, I want to take a look at DigiHost, stock ticker DGHI. So you're going to see right now it's trading at 87 cents. That's where it closed on the day today. That is a 2-year low for this stock. So whereas most of the other Bitcoin miners are not at their lows, they're still off their lows after a big run up. DigiHost did not really experience that giant run to the upside, and it's already back down to a new 2-year low. So out of all the stocks, this one seems to be the one that's lagging the most. I have not talked about DigiHost in a while, so I just wanted to quickly point that out to everybody. And again, not financial advice, but please be careful trading all these stocks. You can see the Bitcoin miners, as most of you know, take wild swings up and down. So that's what I got for you. I'll be keeping a close eye on everything we looked at and bring another update if anything meaningful happens tomorrow. So thanks for watching. If you made it this far, please remember to subscribe to the channel and smash the like button. So thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.